podcast, Ash Backwards. Welcome to Ash Backwards. Hope you guys enjoy the show. This is our first of hopefully many podcasts. My name is Ray. This is my old chum Robb, who's my co-host. And this is Chris to my right, or your left, whatever. He is the owner of Courthouse Cigar in Dedham, Massachusetts. And we're going to be talking with him.
Good afternoon.
Are we coming through loud and clear? We're going to talk to Chris in a few minutes, but we thank him right now for his cooperation and his hospitality.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Welcome, guys.
By the way, very
Excited.
Nice place.
Thank you.
That's a great
very nice
lighter.
place.
Yeah.
Start a barbecue with this lighter.
Maybe can I have the lighter, please?
Are you sure? Excuse me. My first cigar, folks. Anyway, welcome. So again, we're Ash Backwards. Hopefully you're seeing the logo right now on the screen. And basically I want to talk to you guys a little bit, about our philosophy here, what we're all about. So we're going to be a podcast. Obviously, cigars are going to be the theme. And we don't want to talk at you guys. We don't want to get too deep into the weeds or the tobacco fields in this case. But we want to talk about cigars and how we can incorporate cigars into our daily lives and routines and why cigars are special to us. And we're going to have some interesting guests, some quirky people, starting with us. And we hope you enjoy it. It's going to be really, hopefully, very interesting. We love nostalgia. We like talking about how cigars sort of spark up memories with people. And we love the ritual of smoking, too. We're going to talk a lot about the cigar lifestyle, cigar lounge lifestyle, and things like that. So we're going to talk about cigar, like price points of cigars, all the nuances of cigars, all these different things. So definitely, tune in. We hope to do these at least like once every few weeks. So we also want to talk to the novice cigar smoker as well as the veteran aficionado, something for everybody. So we might not do really cigar reviews per se, but we do want to, talk about why we like the cigars. We might not talk in the most technical terms about them, but, we want to pretend you guys are at the lounge with us. When we want the cigar smoking we want cigars to be like a 1 to 2 hour vacation for all of us, to get away from our troubles, get away from whatever, You guys want to add anything?
Screaming
We
wives.
just want to make it fun. Screaming wives, screaming husbands, screaming children.
Yeah, all the
screaming
above.
ambulances. Yeah, we want it to be fun.
I
Yeah.
love
You guys.
And the idea for all of us is, cigars really attract very interesting people, starting with the three people at this table.
Yeah, strange bedfellows.
And, we're trying to make light of the fact that we don't take cigars all that seriously. And although we do enjoy them and we certainly appreciate them. But the secret sauce really for us is just the personalities that you come across in the world of cigars.
Yeah, we love cigars. We know what we like, and like Rob said, we don't want to, we don't want to take cigars overly seriously. We just want to, and by that we mean getting again into the weeds about everything, the fermentation process, this and that. There's plenty of podcasts for that, okay? But we want this to be interactive. We want you guys to be able to throw comments in, any ideas for the show. We'll have different segments that we're going to introduce as the different podcasts go on. So it should be a lot of fun. All right. So anyway, that's sort of like our general philosophy here. Sorry to bore you with all that, but we wanted to lay it out there. Right now, we want to introduce you to our friend Chris DeMayo of Courthouse Cigar in Dedham. Again, he's the one who's sort of hosting us here. You can see the humidor behind us, and we've really enjoyed being here. We're going to talk about the cigars we're smoking in a minute, but I'm going to turn it over to Chris. Maybe tell us a little bit about Courthouse Cigar. And by the way, before we start, Dedham, D-E-D-H-A-M, Massachusetts, is where we're broadcasting from, and it's actually my hometown. I was brought up down the street from here, for better or for worse. So, Chris, I'll give it to you. Tell us a little bit about Courthouse Cigar.
Perfect. Well, being from Dedham, that makes you're high on my list. So first, I want to say thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to this. I love the format that we've set up. And let's jump in. So a couple of things. Let me give you some background. So Dedham, Massachusetts, one of the oldest towns in the state, estimated or established, I think, in right around 1636, thereabouts. There's a great place to visit called the Fairbanks House.
Yes, oldest house in America.
You got it. So another kind of key point for the town of Dedham.
In fact, Rob had a hot dog from 1636 a few weeks ago. How was that hot dog?
It was actually quite good.
Probably better than some hot dogs today.
Yeah, but I believe the term is Frankfurters.
Okay, there we go.
Or weenie.
I love it.
That's what I'm sorry. We digress. Go on.
No, please. That's all good stuff. The building we're in, and this actually, so this area is Dedham Square. This Dedham Courthouse. Again, the buildings and locations been around for numerous years. This building, I'm gonna guess, guys, it's late 1800s, early 1900s. You can tell just by looking at the structure. Old school, 14-foot ceilings, a lot of tin. A lot of nostalgia. It's kind of like it's vintage.
Nice.
It's a nice, and that's one of the comments we get
throwback.
quite a bit is
I don't think
love the
our
shop.
voters can see in this
They
picture,
cannot.
but there's a beautiful ornate ceiling that probably was copper at one time.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Beautiful, and the moldings and the trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
Things don't work out. We can turn it into like 30,000 pennies or something. 3 million pennies.
We can melt it
We
down.
melt it down.
I thought we're getting rid of the penny.
Yeah, no, we are. But we can make one giant penny here
That's
with a
it.
cigar logo. What could go wrong with
That's
that?
it. No.
Did Lincoln smoke cigars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he probably did, right?
The Courthouse Cigar established in 1997. David Lindholm was the original owner of the business. Ran it for 20 plus years. I took over the business in January of 2026. So I got a couple of months under my belt, but really loving it. I worked for David for about 2 years, and it's one of those, I was a customer before I was the owner, so spent a lot of time here. I live in the area, so it's really easy for me to stop by. But it's that adage of, I like the product so much, I bought the company kind of thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, it worked out perfect. So I worked with David for a couple of years, and he and I got to a point where he's older gentleman, and he was looking for the next chapter, and he and I hit it off real well, and it worked out for both of us, right? It was a win-win. I mean,
Totally.
and I mean, really, my goal, and still working with David, we kind of we changed up the format, kind of brought it up to 2026, if you will. Some lighting, some flooring, lit the cabinets, really
Yeah, it
just
looks
try to
great.
dress it up and really just make it change the vibe.
Yeah,
It's really nice,
You're off to
yeah.
a great start.
No,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And again, we want to sort of, even though it's kind of tough to do through video, but we want to create the whole thing we have here. The whole mystique is trying to sort of create that cigar lounge vibe, And again, that's why we really want to hear from you guys as far as the cigar lounge lifestyle and why it's important to you and the role cigars play, in that lifestyle. So, and Chris is nice enough to let us go to the humidor and choose. We each chose one of our favorite cigars that we're going to briefly talk about right now. So why don't we start with you, Chris? Tell us about what you're smoking, why you like it, and just a little bit about the cigar. And also, you guys should be seeing the graphics right now in case we talk too fast or you're asleep already. Just, you can glance at that.
Yeah,
We want to
perfect.
give you the basics.
Perfect. Yeah, so the one that I chose is the Illusion Corojo. Illusion or Illusion, depending on what part of the country you're from. So I actually just started smoking this cigar. I have a couple of guys who come in and it's their go-to. So a lot of the banter, and Rob, you had mentioned the comment of, hey, this is not just about cigars, it's about interaction, it's about conversations, it's more than just smoking a cigar. And there was a group of guys who really honed in on this, and I kind of stayed away from it for a while just because I thought it to be a little out of my range, a little more of a full body, but tried it and found it to be right in line with kind of, I'm a medium plus guy,
Yeah.
and I found it to be right in line with that. I would describe it, actually, I get similar flavors. I kind of call it like a Padron Light.
So Illusion is, again, the company? Is our parent company?
No, it's. I would call these guys. So we carry a couple of products that I kind of use the word boutique.
Yeah.
The Illusion's one of them. The Olmec is, I consider, one of them. The
Oh, you love the
Tabernacle,
Olmec.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tabernacle is spectacular.
Tabernacle, exactly.
And Chris, what's the country or origin of that cigar?
Yeah, so the nice part about this one is it falls in line with the Padron. It's a Puro. It's Nicaragua. The binder, the filler, the wrapper, all Nicaragua.
Yeah, and just to toss it in there, the term puro, which I'm embarrassed to say I just learned a few years ago, simply means that, the binder, the wrapper, and the filler, right, are all from the same country of origin. It means
Correct.
Puro. When you hear puro, that's what it means.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. And we'll show you guys the Illusion. We're going to put a picture up. There should be a picture of it right now. I don't know if you can hold even
Yeah.
the wrapper up, but they can get it right in there
Here we go.
and stuff, but see the label. But we want you guys to be able to jot down these cigars in case you want to try one. And if you have tried the Illusion or any of the cigars we're talking about, put it in the comments, and we'll throw those comments up next podcast. Okay.
And it's definitely one of those. Again, I really follow it along with the Padron. Consistent from start to finish.
Yeah.
The flavor is fantastic. It doesn't. I don't notice a change. A lot of folks talk about the first third, the middle. I don't notice that. But the flavors, again, I think it's a good bold. It's cherry. It's leathery. It's cedar. There's a lot of good flavors. And quite honestly, from a price point, not quite half a Padron, but it's there. So it's very, very reasonable in terms of cost. But definitely comes across as, like I said, it's a Padron Light for me. But again, we all know, right? It's subjective. It's your own taste. And
Of
kind of what you
course,
get.
yeah. Some people love pepper. Some people like cocoa. Some
Right.
people like a combination of both. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that as we go along. While we're on the subject of price point, though, let me just talk about how we do our little scale here. We call it the value scale, and here's how we define it. So all the cigars that we're going to talk about, at least in this podcast, we enjoy, but we want to talk about how the enjoyment factor is relating to cost. Is it worth it? So we have, 3 categories. We have the first one, which is called no juice for the squeeze, which means good cigar, but not quite worth the cost, okay? The cigar might, a cigar in general could be $25, but you can get just a good cigar for 8 or 9. You know what I mean? So that would be, again, a good cigar, but no juice for the squeeze. The second category is called on the money and sweet as honey. And that means the price is commensurate to the quality. Like a $15 cigar, okay, it smokes like it's a great cigar, and it's decent for the price. It's what you'd expect. And then we have the rare cigars that we call an ASH, A-S-H, astonishing value, which is a great price for the quality of the cigar. In a moment, I'm going to talk about one of those very cigars and stuff. But Chris, I'll let you wrap up with that. Anything else about the Illusion? How long have you had them here at Courthouse?
Yeah, so it's a very popular good seller for us. It's been in line for probably a year plus, if not more. But it's one of those cigars that as folks come in, here's what happens. We have a number of guys who smoke them. I always have those conversations with, how is it? Let's talk about it. And then once I try it, this is definitely a cigar that I promote. And from a price point, right, as you'd mentioned, I mean, what I'm smoking now is a $14 cigar.
Yep.
And
that's MSRP, but it's before
there you go.
tax, right? It's important to know because in Massachusetts, as anybody who lives in this area knows, you have to mortgage a house to buy a decent cigar. That's why I'm homeless right now. So, but in other states, New Hampshire, wherever, there's other states where there's no cigar tax. So we like to talk about MSRP when we talk about price point. You guys can factor in your own taxes because obviously you guys are watching this probably around the world, right?
Oh, definitely.
What time is it in Italy right now?
There we go.
In Italy, they're smoking what are those called? Those little, the Conde type of cigars.
Little Peroni or something.
The Peroni, the one. Those are pretty good, actually. Yeah. But thanks, Chris, for that review. Yeah. So it's the Illusione is the name of the cigar. And what size is it again? Roughly?
So the one that I have is it's on a smaller gauge. It's about a 5.5 inch by a 46 gauge. For me, my preference is like a 54 or a 56, but I still think it's all about the flavor. It's all about kind of what you get out of it. So I'm okay smoking the a smaller ring gauge or a different size. Mm-hmm. It's more about the flavor.
Yeah.
But no, it's a perfect. We joked a little bit earlier. Being an aggressive smoker, if you will.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Right. So there's a cigar that I'm going to smoke when I'm walking the dog. Right. That's going to be every day, and I'm probably going through that pretty quick. The Illusion to me is more of a, it's a good 45 minutes with this size, probably 35 to 45 minute smoke. If you're doing what we're doing right now, right, and that is just sitting down, relaxing, having some good conversation.
Yeah, in fact, you bring up a good point. After we briefly talk about our cigars, let's talk about aggressive smoking or rhythm of smoking because, at least for Rob and I, we've had our issues. We're not afraid to admit it on national TV.
We will admit our faults. We're not afraid to admit our faults.
Yeah, we've both been victims of aggressive smoking.
Definitely.
So we admit it, all right?
Doesn't make you a bad guy.
Well, in our case it does, but in your case you can speak for yourself. All right, let me talk about my cigar. I am smoking, and again, you'll see it on the screen, and I'll try to hold it up to the camera here. As professional as we are, This is the Perdomo champagne. It's basically called the Perdomo Reserva 10th Anniversary Champagne Cigar, champagne colored. And what's cool about this, aesthetic-wise, is it comes in a wrapper that they purposely made it look kind of tinted and aged. And it's just kind of a nice little thing. It makes you feel like you're smoking a cigar that's 100 years old and stuff. But it is delicious. I love this cigar. The wrapper is Ecuadorian, Connecticut. And the origin is Nicaragua. The filler is it's called Cuban seed, Nicaraguan, Connecticut. But what does that mean, Cuban seed? Does it mean they literally brought the Cuban seed over and did it? I'm not sure.
That's my interpretation, because there's a few in the shop that are Cuban seed, but grown in Nicaragua or Dominican.
Anyway, it's what I love about this is we talked about like the first, second, third, and again, some people love breaking cigars down that way, and there's some legitimacy to that. But this cigar, to me, smokes beautifully all the way through. First, third, second, third, third. If there was a fourth third, it would still smoke good. So it's smooth, it's creamy. To me, it's got sort of a cedary, almost buttery essence to it. And again, if you guys have smoked the Perdomo champagne, let us know, because we want to hear your opinion. Because how I feel about it and the tasting notes might be totally different. You guys might hate it. You might love it. Who knows? I happen to love it. I've had 3 or 4 of them over the last few months.
Oh, I thought that was today.
Yeah. Well, it was at a red light. That's how long the red light took in Denham Square. So anyway, I love this cigar. It is just so good. And the price point, what does it run roughly? Would you say pre-tax? It's probably 14 or something.
Yeah. So a couple different sizes. I think what you have is the 60 gauge, right? So it's
it's a 60 ring gauge, probably like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yep. So that one's right around the 15 range. The smaller one is at the 14.
Yeah, and I tell you, even though that's not chicken feed to a working man, that price, but that's the sweet spot for a lot of people. That $14 to $16, and for me, this smokes as well as some 25 or 30, $30 cigars I've had. I'm going to give this an astonishing value. Again, pre-tax, about $15 a pop. Really, really smooth and delicious. So I'm really enjoying this. If I could afford it, I'd buy a box. Maybe I'll steal a box at Christo's.
I think I might know a guy.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm smoking. I'm going to continue to smoke, hopefully the rest of this podcast. And my old chum Rob now has his cigar.
Yeah, I have one, which should be very familiar to most of you. This is the Aston Churchill. And it's made from our friends over at Arturo Fuente. And what I like about this is I've been smoking cigars for roughly 35 years. I've never had a bad one.
Yeah.
They're consistent. They're as consistent as any cigar out there.
Yeah.
And what I like about it, I like medium/mild. I'm not one for these real robust cigars that you get a headache afterwards when you smoke or you feel dizzy.
Agree.
So these are really nice in the sense that they're smooth, they're buttery. There's no taste at all of pepper or leather. Those are more characteristic of stronger cigars. But what makes this so nice is that it smokes really evenly. The flavors are exceptional. A whole palette of different flavors like cinnamon and nutmeg, vanilla. There's a little bit of a fruity essence and a slight coffee essence too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in fact, that was one of the first. We've been smoking, Rob and I have known each other, believe it or not, this year it'll be 50 years.
50 years?
And we weren't smoking every one of those years, maybe 47 of them. There were some issues, very tough childhood. But we've been, that was one of the first cigars we smoked, right? That we were introduced to, because for the novice cigar smoker or the aficionado, I mean, Ashton's really hold up. I think it's one of those rare cigars that, it's a great starter cigar. It won't scare people off from smoking.
Right.
But you can, it's a great starter cigar, meaning that you could start it before you have a meal or whatever. It's not going to burn your throat, no harshness. Rob, you really don't like pepper. I like pepper in a cigar, but you mentioned it doesn't have that overwhelming peppery
No, I
taste.
definitely don't like pepper, and you won't find any of that in this cigar. This cigar, for you technical people, is 7.5 inches long, and it's got a ring gauge of 52. So this is going to keep you busy for 90 to 120 minutes.
Yeah.
It's got a Dominican filler, Dominican binder, and it's got that all too familiar Connecticut wrapper, which you can always pick off right away because it's much
Yeah,
lighter.
very lighter.
Yeah.
So with these cigars, we recently started putting more emphasis on cold draws. You know, smoking a cigar before you light it.
I love that. I when I have new folks come in,
Yeah.
and they're talking about, hey, what's the best way? I talk about that all the time.
cold draw.
Cold draws, you taste so many different flavors.
And
when
you know
do
what I
that.
found about a cold draw is, like, if it's good, if it's mild, if it doesn't hurt
Right.
it's going to be that way when you light it up.
Exactly.
Like it's basically a preview of what you're going to have. Whereas sometimes you get a cold draw and it's really bitter,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you can't throw it out at that point. You own it. So what you try to do is you light it up and hope for the best. And sometimes the heat will knock out some of those nasty variables that you detect in the cold draw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and it's funny because I used to tease Rob because he used to say, he'd be like, "Oh, smoke the cigar before you light it up." You know, try. He's been doing that for years. You know, and I'd make fun of him saying, "You can't get much out of that until you really light it up to get the nuance and all that." And sure enough, I stand corrected. He got me into the cold draw. You know, because you can tell about the cigar. You can't tell everything about it, but it'll give. It's like a preview. It's like a coming attraction.
It is.
Of what you're getting.
I
Have you-
think what you're trying to say, Ray, is that I've been a really nice influence on your life.
This was not a comedy, although it's
You
pretty
can
one. It
come
kind
out
of
and
is.
say it. It's
Please.
okay.
Yeah, but you started me smoking when I was how old? No.
Yeah.
We're not
You were
allowed
like
to say it.
eight
No,
years
no, well, we're not allowed to say it. We're going to get shut
Right,
down.
right.
No. But yeah, the cold draw does work, folks. And again, if you do cold draws, put in the comments. We'd like to hear about that. And if you think it's a legitimate thing or not, we tend to feel that it is a very legitimate thing. So,
Agree.
Oh, for the value.
yeah.
This
What do you
is on the money, sweetest honey.
Wow.
I mean, this defines it.
Yeah.
You get what you get. And Chris, this is what, like $16?
That guy is that one. The
MSRP.
Churchill 17.
17.
But you made some great call outs, right? So when we have folks come in and we talk about, hey, I'm a novice smoker.
Yeah.
And so I always talk about, hey, let's start you out in a mild, and I'll step through a couple different ones. And I use the terms tier 1, tier 2, just to kind of help somebody get an idea of
So
where it
tier
falls
one
in.
is introduction,
No,
novice, or-
I would call like an Ashton like a tier 1.
Yeah.
Like we have a Davidoff or Monte Cristo. I mean, that's as good as you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're also going to, there's a price that goes with that. When you get into like an Ashton, it might be just below, but the flavors and the quality and the price point and what goes with it, I think are phenomenal.
So you're including price and quality
Yes,
and all. I get you.
yes,
So tier
exactly.
one is that like
Yeah.
upscale
Yes.
flavor, but
The
not
value.
value.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And again, we've been smoking Ashtons like forever, and sometimes they go into the radar because they're always there. They're always consistent, like Padrones, you know.
Correct.
And we always end up sort of going back to those go-tos because you love them, and you
Yeah.
know they're. I've never had a bad Padron. I've
Right.
never had a bad Ashton.
Right.
A lot of the Fuente products, of course, are spectacular. They're not really considered boutique because they're impeccably made, but they're out there a lot, which is great because it really introduces people to those type of cigars. So, before we get into the next segment, let's talk about aggressive smoking and stuff and the cadence and the rhythm of smoking because, again, I'll be the first, maybe the second to admit that I sometimes, when I'm not really focused, it's like when you're eating in front of the television, you end up eating more. You don't focus on it, you don't enjoy it. And cigars are meant to be enjoyed, and like the cigar lifestyle, like when we go to a lounge, I think in general, we really want to focus, of course, on conversation and friends. That's what it's all about. But you also want to really get everything you can out of the cigar, and really, really enjoy it and pick up on the flavors and not have all these distractions. So a lot of times when I do have distractions, whether it's television, looking at my phone, whatever, somebody being loud, which is usually me, then I don't enjoy the cigar. I start puffing quickly, So I'm trying to slow it down. A lot of things I've read about puffing a cigar, so I've heard anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes between puffs. I think 2 minutes is ridiculous. I'm not going to wait 2 minutes to have a puff. 30 seconds maybe, but I do want to slow down. What do you guys think about? Do you feel like you sometimes aggressively smoke too much?
Yeah, I think, the biggest contributor to aggressive smoking is time. That's what it comes down to.
I agree.
You don't want to be
if you go into a lounge and you don't look at your watch and you don't have any constraints, and you have about 3 or 4 hours, then you're going to be able to take your time and smoke it at your pace. But
Yeah.
if you go in there knowing you're going to only have an hour, or an hour and a half, and you're taking a
Right,
like a
right.
cigar like this,
Oh, yeah.
then it's kind of forcing you to aggressively smoke. Another reason to aggressively smoke is when you're sitting with people that irritate you.
Yeah,
Frank.
I was about to say that.
Like they irritate you.
We're right here, you don't have to say it.
Well, just a couple of minutes ago, right?
No, I was just
No,
thinking the same thing. Give an example without mentioning names.
Okay,
Yes.
give them an example. When someone's either loud, obnoxious, or a close talker,
Oh, I hate the coast.
where they have to get
So
right into
uncomfortable.
you to talk to you.
It's like, so, you see the
Yes.
game last
Yeah.
night? I know.
That's when you
We've all
want
been through
basically
that.
to get the hell out of there. And it really, unfortunately, it takes away from your experience in taking your time. So those are the two things: time and sometimes the people around you. And sometimes if the lounge you're in isn't comfortable, or you have a bad chair, it's killing your back, and you feel like I can't take this so much longer.
Yeah.
So those are the big three variables for me.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting thing about time. Like one of the lounges we go to, like I see this in a lot of lounges, and it's a good thing. There are really no clocks on the wall, and a lot of times, the atmosphere is great, but it's kind of dark. It's like being in a casino, I guess, in Vegas, where they purposely, obviously, don't have clocks because they want you to spend forever there. I find the time goes by so quickly. Like I can't go to a lounge for less than 2 hours usually.
Right.
Or I'll, like Rob said, I'll feel rushed. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with time. So there's a couple of cigars that I'll smoke. I call them dog walking cigars, right? I'm not going to go crazy on price. It's a good cigar, but I know that I'm gonna, whether he's on leash or off leash, I'm limited in my time,
Right.
and I'm typically following him around the park or whatnot. And you're going after that cigar pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And
Does your dog ever tell you that you're smoking too aggressively?
no, he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, by coughing sometimes.
Yes.
And it's,
He would prefer that I smoke like a Churchill and give him like 90 to 120 minutes. But it's I agree with you on the timing, right? And the one thing I always find, back to kind of that cold draw. The other thing I like to do is that retrohale when you first start, right? Kind of in through the mouth, out through the nose, get some good flavors. But when I'm doing that quick dog walk, if you will, I'm not picking up on the flavors. I'm not really.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it versus what we're doing right now where you're sitting down, right? It's the pace is slowed and you really spend time with it. And it's amazing the difference in flavor that you get.
It's like a prop
Yeah,
when you're walking.
exactly.
It's like something
Right.
in
That's
your
it.
hand,
That's
right?
it. That's
But it
exactly
also
right.
works the opposite way, where if you know you're going to be in a situation, whether it's the golf course
Right.
or whatever, or in a convertible in traffic or whatever, and you might want to smoke a cigar that's like a 20-minute smoke that isn't, it's not going to break the bank. Like there's one we love called a Flor de,
Oh yeah, Florida.
Flor de
Flor de-
Oliva. It's called Flor de Oliva.
Okay.
Very inexpensive.
Yeah, probably. That's a very low price point. Get good bang for the buck, mild. But that's an example of a cigar that you could buy a box for like less than $100. And if all of a sudden you get interrupted, like if Rob's wife calls and said, "Look, I need a quart of milk." First of all, I don't know how she got a cell phone number. Number one, but number two, he'd have to put the cigar down, and you wouldn't care, right? If you had to smoke
About the
half
phone
of it.
call or the cigar?
He didn't even know he was married, actually. But no, seriously, you can just toss it.
You don't care.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a big investment, and you just say, okay, well, that's the nice thing about having a cigar like that. That's really good value. That's under $5 or thereabouts.
And as we do more of these podcasts, we're going to talk about special occasion cigars and what type of cigars to smoke at what time. But all I know is when I go to a lounge, I want it to be like my happy place, uninterrupted time. And like I said, set aside at least 2 hours. And we've been there like 4 or 5 hours. Sometimes it goes like it's the weirdest
You're
thing.
right. It's like you don't go there with the expectation you're going to be there for 4 or 5 hours. But then you look up and it's like 4 or 5 hours. And they're like, how did I get here?
Time well spent.
Rob comes home. He turns out he's got 3 more kids he didn't know about. Yeah, it's true. It happens. It's happened to many men and women.
Yes. And when the phone rings, I'm not telling them I'm not here.
Yeah, really.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's a whole other podcast talking about. We're going to talk about maybe the next podcast, lounge etiquette. Do you give people your phone number? What if they try to track you down at the lounge? What does the tobacconist say if they call for you? You don't want to take the call. It's a whole different world.
What's the tobacconist's role if they answer the phone? Do they protect you?
It's
do
like
they
a great
give you up?
bartender. Yeah. It's like
Right.
a great bartender who'll keep your secret. You know, somebody you
Sure.
can talk to. In fact, what did my father tell me?
Oh yeah,
Get a
I
grip.
did want to ask you that.
Yeah.
You would tell me one time your dad.
You
told
met my dad. So you know my dad well. My late
I
father.
miss your dad. He was a great.
Oh, he would have
man.
loved this podcast.
Avid cigar smoker, I might add. But
that's
he
what killed
he,
him.
he
No, just
told
kidding.
you. I always forget.
no.
He told you 3 things.
Yeah, he said you need you need 3 things in life, and this is true. He said you need a good doctor, a forgiving priest, and a very knowledgeable tobacconist. And he's like, right, Rob, I never had much calls for the first 2, but the third,
You got something.
you got something
Love
there,
it.
right? So it's true. You need a good tobacconist. So-
Words to live by.
Yeah, words to live by, Chris.
Yes,
Words
yes.
to live by. All right, right now we're going to do a segment called Just One Question. And we're going to go in cold because I have no idea what we're going to ask each other, which I like it like this. So it's when each of us are going to ask each other a sort of a cigar lifestyle related question, and I think it'll create some interesting answers. So do you mind if I start? I'll throw one out to you guys. I'm
Go
gonna
for it.
Ask a question
Yep.
that I just came up with, and yeah, give me your honest answer or dishonest answer, as long as it's entertaining. All right, here's my question. You're smoking outside. I don't care what time of year it is. The temperature. If you're going to sit down and have a cigar outside, what is the cusp? What is the temperature when, just at the point when you can do that, you can sit outside, assuming there's not a lot of wind anyway. You know, like for me, it might be 58 degrees, say, or 60 degrees, when I'm comfortable sitting down, really enjoying a cigar where the weather doesn't interfere at all.
Okay.
What about you guys?
That's a good question.
Well, I just came up with it.
That's the segment.
Yeah. You know, what do you guys think?
I'm. I won't lie to you. I've been in my garage in the middle of winter,
Yeah.
30 degrees out. If it's not raining,
In the garage, though.
I'm in the
yeah.
garage. I mean, the door's open, but 30
Yeah.
degrees, 32 degrees. Now, I will tell you, it goes back to aggressive smoking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Or does the temperature affect the?
It does.
Rhythm?
It definitely does. But I'm not gonna not smoke a cigar just because it's snowing out. I'll sit in the garage. I'll open the door and listen. I got to walk the dog no matter what it's doing.
Yeah.
So there's a chance, unless it's raining, I'm not smoking. But
All things being equal, if you had
Yeah.
a choice of smoking outside or inside, same conditions, more or less.
ooh,
You mean if there are good conditions for smoking
Yeah.
outside and in? Yeah.
I mean, sitting on a beach smoking a cigar is perfect.
I like outside smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for the simple reason, you go to a lounge or whatever, the smoke gets all over you, all
Correct.
over your clothes, all over your hair. Outside, you have a
Oh, it's
little bit
another
of
whole
shade.
discussion.
Yeah. Nothing.
Great discussion
That's
too.
coming
How
up,
do you
right,
how do
right?
you like detoxify, whatever you want to call
Oh,
it? How
boy.
do you whatever the term is when you get home
Mm-hmm.
and you're just reeking of cigar smoke? But that goes back to how if you're in a lounge, if you're outside, like you said, it doesn't matter. But
Right.
if you're in a lounge, you want to be in a lounge, and we've been in both types where the ventilation just sucks. And you come back, and Robert's had to burn many of his good outfits. You know, fortunately, he just wears leisure suits to the lounge. So it works.
Polyester.
Yeah.
Could be a fire
polyester
hazard.
cleans great.
But that's
because
yeah.
It's a fire hazard.
It
right?
does actually. Yeah.
Could be a fire hazard.
Just lighting up a cigar is a fire hazard for us.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
true.
So no, it's gonna. What about you in general? What temperature would you draw the line?
Oh,
outside, and you and I have smoked on
yeah, I
outside
like,
many times.
You know, 68, 70. That's a good.
Okay.
71.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thereabouts.
So even less than 70 might be like, okay, it's on the cusp. like
That's
you-
fine.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously low humidity. Although I
Yeah.
will say humidity sometimes helps keep the cigar moist when you're smoking it outside.
Yeah.
But
Interesting. So you're aiming for like perfect weather.
yeah, like San Diego. weather, You know.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Have you ever smoked a cigar in San Diego?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah,
see?
yeah. You're onto something. Okay.
I've smoked a cigar here made in San Diego. Yeah, wasn't that great? Yeah. So that's a good question. You guys have a question for the rest of us? Like, Chris, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. It kind of surprisingly, it aligns with what you just said. So what's the most memorable place you've smoked a cigar? And it doesn't have to be necessarily the cigar. It's more about the surroundings or the area or where you were.
Yeah, okay. I have, go ahead, do you know?
Historical places or just
So I'll give you my example.
okay.
If I'm hopefully we're not out of tune here. So I was on a business trip and I was out in the Phoenix, Arizona area, and a buddy of mine had mentioned, hey, if you're ever out there, you got to play this golf course. So I was able to get on. I was by myself, which was fine. And, you know, desert golf courses are phenomenal. There's mountains all around. You're in the middle of the desert and everything's green. And it was just one of those, you know, you're kind of looking around saying, this is pretty impressive. So it was that for me, that was, you know, I still think about that course. Like, that was a great course, had a great cigar, but it was more about where I was. Yeah. So it just made the day.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's, again, what we're all about in this podcast, too. See, like, it's not just about the cigar. It's about everything around it. The cigar is important. It's the sort of the glue that keeps us all sort of together.
Right.
These strange people coming together in these circumstances. But that's a great answer.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I can add to that. Like, I went to Vietnam about 3 summers ago. And of course, when I went to Vietnam, it's a very hot place in the summer.
I bet.
But when
And
I was
rainy.
there, it just happened to be the hottest summer ever recorded in Vietnam. 110 degrees, 105 degrees every day with like 95% humidity. So
Jeez.
I remember, you know, at that point you're sweating, you feel gross. It's a great time to have a cigar
Yeah.
because there's nowhere to go
Right.
but down
You're already
or
ruined.
up or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I remember being in Saigon at a main park, and I bought a cigar with broken Vietnamese, and I smoked it outside, and the reaction I got from people, no one said anything, but you could tell it wasn't something most Vietnamese did.
You don't see a lot of, you see cigarette smokers, right? Maybe, but
yeah.
not
Yeah.
cigars in general?
Not cigars.
Where do you get the cigar? Is it one of,
I bought it at I guess it was a tobacco store. It sold other stuff as well, but it was probably the closest thing I could find to a tobacco store. And again, I had to go to Saigon. I was all over Vietnam in very small rural sections. And you could never find a cigar there. But
Right.
in Saigon, and notice I'm saying Saigon, you can find that.
you
That's
find a lot of
interesting.
stuff in Saigon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great place to visit if you've never been there before.
You hear that, viewers?
But go in the winter. don't go in the summer.
Going to winter. There you go.
Really. My favorite, there's a few places. One local, the family compound in Cape Cod, that I go to every year. It's nice, just a great atmosphere. Like Chris mentioned, the beach. There's beaches there, but just smoking near the compound and hanging out with my friends and family there, smoking cigars, and it's really great. And the other is in Italy. I've been to Italy several times, and in Florence, Italy. I love all Italy, but Florence is great. There's a tobacconist in the center of downtown Florence, and he specializes in Cuban cigars, and he kind of knows me now because I've been there several times, and he'll set me up for the trip for cigars. So I'll go there, and he'll say, Ray, here's the cigar you want to have with your whatever, your coffee in the morning, your espresso, like at 10 o'clock, and then around noon you want to have this type of cigar and this. And this guy is great. I forget his name actually, but he would open up a fresh box of Cuban cigars, and he would go through every cigar in that box. He'd check the veins, everything about the cigar, the wrapper, and he would, because he enjoyed us talking cigars, and he probably did, usually gets a typical tourist thing, give me a Cohiba or whatever, which is nice, but he has really unique boutique Cuban cigars. And he'd give me the freshest, the best cigar out of the different boxes. That's how thorough this guy was.
Wow.
And it really added to the enjoyment. And of course, Italy's Italy. There's a million places. Anywhere you go in Italy, that is the occasion, no matter what cigar you smoke. But, obviously Cuban cigars are great, but nowadays there's a lot of cigars that are just as good, if not better than Cubans, in my opinion. But it's kind of nice to actually be able to smoke true Cuban cigars,
Let me ask, on quite a few occasions, folks come in, right? So here we have, everything we have is either Dominican, Nicaraguan, or Honduran.
Yeah.
We do carry Cohibas, we carry the Monte Cristo, we carry the Davidoff. But here in the States, right, you get what you get. When you're overseas, when you're international, I'll have a lot of folks internationally and say, I'm bringing something home, and I want it to be different than the usual suspects that I get back home.
Yeah.
What have you found when you're overseas or international? Like, how different varieties or like, what are the usual suspects? What are the names? What are the brands? Are they different than they are here in the States? Vastly? Or?
Yeah, you get, well, the main ones I had were Cubans, like Bolivar, and there's one called Key d'Orsay, which is great.
Okay.
because they really emphasize that, and the price points, of course, are pretty high.
Right.
This guy's price is reasonable, but you do see Fuentes and the name's escaping me. The Italian cigars, the little the cigars that don't need to be humidified. Toscanos,
come in a
maybe.
pack,
Yeah,
like a
they're
5-pack.
great. They're very unique flavor, though.
Okay.
Very different flavor.
Yeah.
But you see those a lot, and they're nice. There's like a 20-minute smoke.
Yep.
You can do it. And there's varieties I'm sure I've had that I just can't even remember. There's just so many. So I let this tobacconist sort of take the lead, and he was right on the money, and it's kind of cool smoke. I don't usually smoke cigars at 10 in the morning, but maybe 10:30. But in Italy it was great, so I just splurged and did it. So it was just a great experience.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting. No,
Yeah.
it's always good to hear it because again, I don't do a lot of international travel, but there's a lot of folks who come in and say, well, I'm going back home, wherever that may be. It's not here in the States. And
Yep.
I want to bring back something that we don't have. And it's I guess, it seems like there's certainly some differences
Sure.
in,
I
in
think,
products.
this is, I'm painting with a broad brush, but I think this selection in America is much larger than it would
Okay.
overseas.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah. Even in Cuba, they say it's weird. Like you can only get certain, I don't know, to the people visiting Cuba who have the privilege of going there. You can't just get any type of Cuban there unless you know somebody and stuff. So yeah, interesting. All right, and do you have a question for the panel?
Yes, I do.
What?
This one we.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. Hello, is this working? Yeah.
Join us next week. I do. I have a question, and this is a good one. It's something we don't like to admit, but it's going to happen to any of us.
Old
It's
age?
inevitable. Have you ever been outside smoking a cigar, and someone has asked you to either put it out or made a comment, a negative comment?
Can I go in? Can I
Please,
jump?
please.
So
The public's waiting.
you're spot on. So I'm taking the dog for a walk. I have
Oh,
both
God.
of my kids. This is a lot of years ago. They're younger, and
Was it here in Dedham?
it was here in Dedham.
Won't give any names.
Correct. We won't divulge the info. So we're walking the dog, and we're going one way. We're actually on our way back out, and there's a couple heading in. So to path through the forest or woods or whatnot. And the gentleman looks at me and says, "My God, that smells fantastic."
Huh.
And we're walking away, and the woman, after we pass, she's like, "You're stinking the whole place up."
Oh, jeez.
I find your cigar offensive.
I find it pretty much like I find your cigar offensive, and I'm out here to take a nice walk in the outdoors.
So you're outdoors,
Yes.
unencumbered,
Yes.
and they were how close to you were?
I mean, we passed. I was
Yeah,
going.
you're just passing.
We're
You're not,
passing.
You're
We're
not
passing.
blowing smoke up their
No,
skirt.
no. And it was,
So,
and I
That
have
1 second of
that-
crossing paths
that's it.
produced that type of reaction.
That reaction, and I'm a nice guy. I actually what I did, I think I thanked the gentleman. I said thanks. I said it's a great cigar. I just left it at that.
Yeah, good. You handled that well.
Yes.
Because we found out the hard way you cannot smoke cigars in jail, even if it's for a few hours. Like how. Remember, I think then we get. I don't know, but anyway, how you get one phone call.
I think you're misplacing that with reformatory school.
That's how we met in reform school. No, how you get one phone call, right? Instead,
Yes.
I didn't know who to call. I had no friends, and so I said, "Could I have one cigar instead of a phone call?" and so they said, "No, you have to make a phone call." So I think I ordered a pizza or something. But I was 12, so
Right.
who knows? All right, guys, we're going to start winding down. Here's something I want to put out to you viewers, though. Okay, guys. Again, you'll see where you can put comments. In YouTube here, and then what we'll do is, if we hear from you guys, hopefully we'll hear from you guys.
Yes.
We'll put these comments. We'll respond to some of these comments on our next podcast. But I want to throw a general question out there, and we're going to do this at the end of every podcast. My question is this: what is your best kept secret cigar? Like, is there a cigar that you love and you're telling everybody about it? They might not listen. They might think you're crazy. It could be something really unique about the cigar that you love, a cigar that's very hard to find. Like there's one I'm thinking about right now that I'm going to talk about in one of our YouTube shorts, so you have to wait and see that. But I want to put it out to you viewers. If there's a best kept secret cigar that you want to tell the world about, we'll put it out there. If you want, we'll mention your first name and we'll put the quote up there or whatever you want to say. So that's the question to the viewers. So we're winding down right now. Any last comments before we wrap up, guys?
I mean, let me just jump in and say again, I appreciate that this is a lot of fun with you guys.
Great, a lot of fun.
This is. I mean, you know, when you described kind of what this podcast is, and it's not, we're not digging into details. It's just more open discussion.
Yeah.
This turned out to be fantastic. Exactly what I was looking for, and appreciate everything you guys have done.
Well, you have been a kind and generous.
Yeah, this
host.
is great.
Well,
Hopefully-
thank you.
That's
Hopefully
for
we do
sure.
another podcast here in the near future.
Very
Oh,
generous.
More than welcome back. Yeah.
Thank you for the cigars.
Yes, it's great.
And yeah, this was the first one, and I hope you get a gist about the personalities involved and what makes this podcast different from your standard
Yeah,
cigar podcast.
it's just talking, you know, again, that lounge feel. We're going to have a sort of a rotating cast of folks as we go on as well. And you're going to see some real, it's going to make you go screaming into the night. So anyway, guys, have a great time. And our tagline is going to be, we will meet you in the humidor. Take care. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Wrapped in a ribbon of sweet smoke, sharing a laugh and a private joke. This is the good life, the easy pace, lost in